So we are here today with a new topic, that is agriculture. So here we will see its introduction part, then the types of economic activities, what is agriculture, what are the factors that influence agriculture, then types of farming, subsistence farming and commercial farming. So in between this, subsistence farming also has subtypes, that is intensive, primitive and nomadic herding, and commercial farming, mixed farming and plantation. So we will go through this one also. Then we will just see about the major crops also, its climatic conditions, then what are the agricultural development we have seen till now, and then there will be a comparison between India versus USA, the way of doing agriculture. So let us start the topic. So agriculture is the primitive activity that involves growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers and rearing livestock, that is the animals. It is essential because it provides food and raw material for many industries. So agriculture is the primary activity that include the growing of the crops and then fruits and vegetables and rearing livestock, right? So it provides us food and raw material for many industries. Now there are types of economic activity. They are primary activities, secondary activities and tertiary activities. Now primary activities include all those connected with extraction and production of natural resources. For example, agriculture, fishing and mining. That's why here agriculture is the primary activity. It has been just informed here. So it includes just the connection with the extraction and production of natural resources. That is primary activity. Secondly, secondary activities are connected with the processing of these resources. These resources means natural resources. Example, manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, etc. So here the natural resources are processed, right? So that's why these activities are called secondary activities. After that, tertiary activities, here we will see it provides support to the primary and secondary sectors. For example, transport, trade and banking. So here those activities that will support primary and secondary activities will be known as tertiary activities, right? So these are the types of economic activities. Now let us continue with our topic, that is agriculture. So agriculture is a primary activity. It includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers and rearing of livestock. In the world, 50% of persons are engaged in agricultural activity. Two-thirds of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. So India's two-thirds of population is still dependent on agriculture, right? Now there are some factors that influence agriculture. Let us see. First of all is the topography of the soil. So if you want to do agriculture, then the topography of the soil really matters. Flat and fertile land is suitable for doing agriculture. Second, climate is also an important point. Moderate temperate and rainfall are ideal for doing agriculture. Now, soil type is also important factors of doing agriculture. Here, different crops require different type of soil types. Irrigation, that is the availability of water, affects the agriculture. Then technology and machinery improve productivity, right? So nowadays if technology and machineries we are going to use in agriculture, then we will see a fast improvement in our production. And finally, labor availability, so needed for large scale farming. So labor are also needed. So these are the 6 factors that influence agriculture. Next, let us see the types of farming. So farming is a practice in various ways across the world. Depending upon the geographical condition, demand of produce, labor and level of technology, farming can be classified into 2 main types. So farming can be classified into 2 main types depending upon the geographical condition of the area, then what is the demand of the product, availability of the labor and what level of technology you are using, right? So first type of farming is subsistence farming. It is practiced to meet family needs. So this type of farming is done to meet the family needs. Small plots or traditional tools are used to do subsistence farming. Here we will see a low productivity of just the product are in produce in low quantity. And if we are going to talk about, then these are done in some parts of India, Africa, Southeast Asia. Now here in the subsistence farming, We have seen there are subdivision of farming is also there, that is the intensive subsistence farming and the primitive subsistence farming. In intensive, farmer cultivate a small plot of land using simple tools and more labor. Climate with large number of days with sunshine and fertile soils permit growing of more than one crop annually on the same plot. Rice is the main crops apart from wheat, maize, pulses and oilseeds. So in this type of farming, rice is the main crop. This agriculture is prevalent in the thickly populated area of the monsoon region of South, Southeast and East Asia. Okay, so this is intensive where the farmer cultivated a small plot of land and the crop is one crop is annually grown on the same plot and rice is the main crops. Next is the primitive subsistence farming. It includes shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. So shifting cultivation is a plot of land is cleared by felling the trees and burning them. The ashes are then mixed with the soil and crops like maize, yam, potatoes and cassava are grown, right? So a plot of land is cleared by felling the trees and burning them. Later on, these ashes are mixed with the soil and crops like maize, yam, potatoes are grown. After the soil loses its fertility, the land is abandoned and the cultivator moves to a new plot. That's why it is known as shifting cultivation. Now, shifting cultivation is also known as slash and burn agriculture, right? So, it may be there in the MCQs. So, the other name of shifting cultivation is slash and burn agriculture. Next, nomadic herding. So, it is practiced in the semi-arid and arid region of Sahara, Central Asia and some parts of India like Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir. In this type of farming, herdsmen move from place to place with their animals for fodder and water along defined routes. So this type of movement arises in response to climatic constraint and terrain. So sheep, camel, yak and goats are most commonly reared. So these types are of just the nomadic herding is practiced in semi-arid area and the herdsmen move from place to place with their animal, right? So this is the first one, that is the subsistence farming. Next, the subdivision of the farming is commercial farming. So in this type of farming, crops are grown for commercial purpose. Wheat and maize are common commercially grown grains and major areas where commercial grain farming is practiced are temperate grassland of North America, Europe and Asia. So here the farming are grown for these crops are grown for commercial purpose, right? Next is the mixed farming. Here we will see a subdivision, that is mixed farming. The land is used for growing food and fodder crops and rearing livestock. It is practiced in Europe, Eastern USA, Argentina, Southeast Australia, New Zealand and South Africa. So here the land is used for growing food and fodder crops and rearing livestock. That is it is called mixed farming, right? Next is the plantation. So plantation are a type of commercial farming where single crop of tea, coffee, sugarcane, cashew, rubber, banana or cotton are grown. So it large amount of labor and capital are required to do plantation farming and the produce may be processed on the farm itself or in nearby factories. So this type of plantation farming is common in Malaysia where rubber is grown, coffee in Brazil, tea in India and Sri Lanka are some examples, right? So this is about the types of farming where we have seen about the subsistence farming and its subdivision, that is the intensive, primitive and nomadic herding. Then commercial farming we have seen about the mixed farming and the plantation. Now let us see some major crops and the climate needed an example also. So rice need high temperature and rainfall and clayey soil. An example is India, China and Bangladesh, right? Wheat require moderate temperature, rainfall, loamy soil. USA, Canada and India are the example where it is grown. Millets that require less water and poor soil and it is grown in India and Nigeria. Maize that is require moderate temperature, rainfall, well-drained soil and it is grown in USA, Brazil and India. Cotton, it requires warm climate and black soil and it is grown in India, USA and China. Jute, hot and humid climate is needed and alluvial soil also and it is grown in India, Bangladesh. Next is the coffee. So coffee require warm, wet climate and well-drained soil. So it is grown in Brazil and India. Tea, it require cool, wet climate and hilly terrain, and it is also grown in India and China. So these are the major crops and the climate they needed and the example where it is frequently grown. Now let us see how much agriculture development we have seen till now. So means improving farming method to increase production. So in the agriculture development we have seen that farming has been improved by the method of increasing production. It includes the use of modern tools where we have seen tractors, harvesters they are using the modern tools, and then use of high yielding variety seed. Scientific techniques are also used and better irrigation and storage facility also seen till now, right? So this is about the agriculture development. Now let us quickly do a comparison between India versus USA. So if we are going to talk about the aspect that is the size of the farm, India has a small and fragmented farm, whereas USA has a large farms. Tools, India use traditional and modern mixed tools, whereas USA use highly mechanized tools. Labor, India has family-based labor and USA has higher labor and machines. If you're going to talk about productivity, India has low productivity and USA has high productivity. Finally, India grow rice, wheat, pulses and cotton, and USA grow maize and wheat. So this much for today's video.